Hey guys, this is Wyatt, and today we're going to be talking about the Saints' playoff push to a possible Super Bowl run, as well as a few injury updates. We got some people coming back, and as well as like a little preview of the game against the Bears coming up on Sunday. Now, this is no surprise to you guys. I have not done anything like this before, so this is brand new to me. This is going to be brand new to y'all, and you guys just going to need to bear with me here because this may not be as high quality or higher quality as a lot of people would do this. Like, I don't have like a fancy mic or nothing. I'm literally recording this on my phone in my room. So if this is not, just let me know what you guys think of it. It's not going to be perfect, but I figured I would try it out since we're nearing the end of the season. And if if it's the off season and I wanted to do something like this and I wouldn't have done it, I'm going to have to wait till like September. So I'm just, try it now. If I don't like it, I don't. If you guys like it, you don't. If I like it, then I'll keep doing it. And especially if you guys like it, I'll keep doing it. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about for this video is all of the injury updates and all the returning players that the Saints have on, or should be having on Sunday. Now, I'm recording this on Wednesday night, so all of the, the things that are looking like it's going to happen may not happen, but I'm going and doing this now because I don't think a whole lot's going to change. So that's why I'm going ahead and doing this now. So I believe Michael Thomas came back to practice today. Now, he's still listed on injured reserve, but that's usually how it works. Like when Drew Brees came off of IR, I don't think he got activated officially till like maybe Friday or Saturday, but he still played. Like everyone knew he was practicing the whole week and all that. So I believe he practiced limited, and it looks like he should play. Now, it's not very much of a surprise because, when he got placed on IR back in, I believe it was after the Eagles game a few weeks ago, the reasoning for it was because to get him healthy for the playoffs, and that's what it looks like it's happening. Now, I don't think he's not going to be 100%, but an 85% Michael Thomas is a whole lot better than a lot of other receivers at 100%. So that's why, we should be happy about that. And also, it's the playoffs. We kind of need him. We can't be going against really good defenses in the playoffs on the road or whatever with practice squad wide receivers. That's just not going to cut it. I mean, obviously, when you're playing teams like the Panthers or the Vikings or, even the Falcons, all those receivers, they're gonna get their catches and all that because those defenses are booty butt cheeks. So there's all that stuff not going to work in the playoffs. So it's a really good thing we got Michael Thomas back. I also believe we got Deontay Harris back, who's been out since probably for most of the second half of the season. I believe. I don't remember what exactly the injury was. But he was never full. It was kind of a similar to Michael Thomas situation where he just kept his injury was lingering. So they just put him on IR at the same time Michael Thomas was, and now he's back at practice, I believe, limitedly. But it's because it's a Wednesday. You don't want to rush him back too much. But I'm almost positive that we'll be playing. Now, we had a whole bunch of COVID players on the COVID list this week. I believe it started with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who got placed on the COVID list like last Wednesday, and then the next day, Alvin Kamara got put on the COVID list, but Alvin Kamara has not yet been activated off the COVID list. It looks like he will probably play on Sunday because the thing is, when you test positive, there's a 10-day period where after those 10 days you can come back as long as you tested negative and you remain asymptomatic the whole time. And looks like that's what's going to happen. But the thing is, in those 10 days, he has to quarantine himself, which means he cannot be involved in practice. But if there's any player that I trust going into a game without practice, it's Alvin Kamara. Because, all the Saints coaching staff has talked about this all the time, that whenever you try to teach Alvin Kamara a play, he's just like, I got it. He knows it. Now, obviously, there's probably going to be a couple tweaks to all the plays. They're not going to be running the exact same plays that he's run all the time. They probably will. But he knows most of the stuff. I don't think him missing any practices would be a problem, especially with how big of a part of the offense he is and the threat that he puts on the opposing defense. I think that's going to help us out a lot. So it's good to get him back. Also, all of our running backs were placed on the COVID list, I believe, on Friday because they were deemed close contacts to Kamara. But the thing is, they didn't test positive, so they were back. I believe they got activated already. Latavius Murray, Dwayne Washington, Michael Byrd, even though he's the fullback, they're all back. They're going to play. And if Alvin Kamara for some reason does not play, I'm good with Murray. We've seen what he did against the Bears last year. He had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing the ball. And he was the workload. I believe he got over 20 carries in that game, so I think we're good even if we don't have Kamara. And let me think, who else did we get back? And Marcus Williams has also returned to practice, I believe, limitedly as well. But when he had missed the last 2 games, it didn't look great. Now, I know last week against the Panthers we got 5 interceptions, but most of that was in the second half. And then most of that second half, P.J. Walker was playing quarterback. Now, I'm not saying he's no scrub, but, I mean, I'm not trying to slander the dude, but, like, he was in the XFL for a reason. Like, he's not an elite quarterback, and I believe we intercepted him 3 times. And who got those picks? Lattimore, King Crawley. I can't believe King Crawley got a pick. That's still crazy. And P.J. Williams, too. I still can't believe all the nobodies got picks yesterday, except for Lattimore and Malcolm Jenkins, obviously. But still, it's crazy to see all those people get interceptions. But anyway, and also in that Vikings game, when that was one of the worst defensive games I've seen from us the whole season. Now, I know we won the game, but the defense was bad. You could tell the defense was missing Marcus Williams. Just something was missing. We were getting torched the whole game. Now, I know 33 points isn't horrible, but the thing is, it only doesn't look so bad because we literally scored 52 points. If Alvin Kamara didn't wake up just deciding to score 6 touchdowns, we probably could have lost that game. So, thank God Alvin Kamara showed up for that game. But anyway, I believe that's most of the important injuries. I mean, there's other injuries as well. Oh, I probably should mention this. This is actually kind of important. Nick Easton, which is kind of important, got placed on the, not COVID list, he got placed on the injured reserve today. I don't remember what the injury was, but he probably won't play the rest of the season unless we make the Super Bowl because injured reserve is 3+ weeks, and since he got placed after Week 17, that would mean literally the earliest he can return is a Super Bowl. He cannot play in a divisional round or an NFC Championship. He would, if we made the Super Bowl, he could possibly play, but that's it. So we're probably going to be seeing Cesar Ruiz back at the right guard spot. But I'm not exactly sure why he was taken out in the first place. Because he, right when he got taken out, I think in the Panthers game, he was actually putting together a few decent games. So I don't really understand why we removed him when he was playing better. But it's fine. Hopefully we don't have another, interior O-line hiccup in the playoffs. But that's pretty much it for all the important injuries. I think there's a few others, but my mind's drawing a blank right now. So, alright, so now that we got all the injury stuff all the way, let's go ahead and talk about just the whole playoff picture as a whole. Not the playoff picture, the official playoff bracket for the NFC and how what I believe would be the ideal path to a possible Saints Super Bowl run. Now, as you guys probably know what the playoff picture is, I'll just remind you guys. The one is the Packers, which means they have the only bye week, so they're not playing. They're watching football this weekend. Then we got our Saints at number 2. We got, the Seahawks at number 3, the Washington football team at 4, then the the Rams at 6, and then the Bears at 7, which is who we play. So what I believe to be the ideal path for the Super Bowl is obviously we have to hope the Saints beat the Bears on Sunday, and the Seahawks play the Rams. Now, I probably think it's more likely for the Seahawks to win that game, so let's go ahead and assume the Seahawks win the game. And Bucks and Washington, I'm just going to assume the Bucks are going to win. I believe the football team could actually put up a half-decent fight because they have a pretty good defense, but I think the Bucks are probably going to win that game because the Washington's offense isn't great. So, yeah. So, let's go ahead and assume all that happens, right? That would mean the Saints would play the Seahawks in the divisional round in New Orleans, and then the Bucks would go to Lambeau and play the Packers. Now, as for a possible Bucks-Packers playoff matchup, earlier in the season, the Bucks absolutely ass-blasted the Packers 38-10. Now, I'm not saying that was all luck, but I do believe that was somewhat of a fluke. I don't see that happening in the playoffs at all. In fact, I think it's unlikely the Bucks pull out that game. I think it can be a half-decent game. I think it'll be pretty close if that happens. I'm not assuming all this will happen. I'm just saying this is the most ideal scenario, what we should hope happens, in my opinion. So let's say the Bucks, if they somehow win that game, which we should root for the Bucks to win that game in that case, because would you rather go to Lambeau in an NFC Championship game, or would you rather be at home and play the Bucks for a third time? I would rather play the Bucks. We own the Bucks lately, and I'm not saying that could change in a playoff game because what the Saints do in the playoffs, they tend to shit the bed. But I would be much more content with playing the Bucks in a playoff game than Lambeau. So if that happened, that would mean the Saints play the Bucks in the NFC Championship game, And that's a whole lot better than playing the Packers at Lambeau, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, that's the easiest path to a possible Saints Super Bowl. I don't know who we're gonna play in the Super Bowl. I'm not looking that far ahead yet. I know I'm already looking far ahead, but I'm not looking past the Bears. I'm just trying to kind of let you guys know what we should be hoping happens. I mean, obviously, it would be great if the football team somehow beats the Bucs or the Rams somehow beat the Seahawks, but I just don't. I'm trying to at least be reasonable with what we should hope for. I don't think we should have too much faith in the Washington football team or in the Rams to beat the Seahawks, especially if they have, who was it, John Wolford? I don't know what his name was, starting at quarterback. Because although he did beat the Cardinals, I mean, he scored 15 points. They basically lost that game and they won that game because the Cardinals are just complete doo-doo ass. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, let's talk about the Saints versus Bears game as a whole this Sunday. Now, I believe it's being played Sunday at 3:30, 3:45, something like that. And, I mean, honestly, I'm just going to be straight up. If the Saints lose this game, now, I won't be shocked if we do because this is the type of shit we do in the playoffs. If we lose to Mitchell Trubisky in the playoffs, I'm going to lose my shit. I cannot stand losing all these games. I mean, come on, the Vikings. Like, the Vikings were, I'm not saying they were bad last year. I mean, they were good. They went 10-6. They made the playoffs for a reason. But that's a winnable game. You're at home. You went 13-3. You went 13-3. And I don't think you had more than 100 total yards of offense the fourth quarter. That's embarrassing. And then whenever we did finally start, picking up some slack on offense, we fucking shit the bed and we fumbled the ball. I mean, and then you'd be choking overtime too because we can't cover Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook runs all over us and Kirk Cousins throws that pass to Kyle Rudolph. And the year before, I mean, we got robbed against the Rams, but I can't sit here and lie to you and act like we did not choke that game because although the game would have been won if the refs blew that whistle and called the flag, do not forget the fact that we had a chance to play a whole series of defense to hold the Rams, and we also got the ball first in overtime. I mean, I'm just calling it for what it is. You could say, on the Drew Brees pick, oh, it was roughing the passer or hands to the face or pass interference on the guy who was covering Michael Thomas, but come on, dude, you should not be throwing up prayers in overtime in the championship game. If you need to take a sack, take a sack. We had a good defense. They played good most of the game. The Rams didn't really do anything on offense until the second half. And they didn't even do that much anyway. They were just the only reason why they were really even picking up slack on offense was because the Saints offense was just going 3 and out the whole second half. I mean, it was unbearable. And then we all know what happened, the Minneapolis Miracle. Now, that wasn't necessarily a team choke. It was a Marcus Williams choke, but to be fair, if we didn't put ourselves in a situation where we had to come back in the first place, then you wouldn't have had to worry about that. But that's beside the point. I'm not here to rant. Well, I kind of did just rant about the last few years in the playoffs, but we should not lose this game. Out of the last 4 years, this should be the easiest playoff game. But I've learned my lesson to call any game an easy win. Especially after last year we lost the Falcons and then we lost the Vikings in the wild card round. I'm never ever predicting a Saints win in this situation ever again. If we lose to Mitchell Trubisky, I just will not be able to stand it. But anyway, let's talk about the game. I know I said that before I went on my little playoff rant. Let's talk about the game. If we're looking at both teams, right, the Saints went 12-4. While pretty much banged up on offense the entire season, Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara literally, as a full trio, played football for 10 quarters all season. 16 games, 10 quarters. That's 2.5 games, which I believe it was both Bucs games and then half of the 49ers game. I mean, that's insane. Our 3 best players on offense literally fucking played 2.5 games. That's insane. And we still went 12-4, and we were the 4th or 5th best scoring. We averaged 30 points a game. I mean, that's insane. And most of the season, we were playing with Walmart employees as wide receivers. That's something to be proud of, really. It really is. And then the Bears, they went 8-8, and I believe they started with 5-1. They were looking. I'm not gonna say they were looking good because everyone knew they were frauds. Then they went some insane 7-game losing streak or something. But then they started to put some games back together. But And a lot of people are, giving the Bears a whole lot of credit for those games. But I mean, I'm not here to say they don't deserve any credit. But to be fair, they did play the Texans, the Vikings, the Lions, the who they played the other week that they destroyed. Jacksonville. They played Jacksonville as well. So, and they scored 30-plus points in all those games. Everyone's talking about how, Mitchell Trubisky is, he's improving and he's not bad anymore. But in my opinion, Mitchell Trubisky hasn't changed. He's better than last year. But that's not saying much because he was absolutely dog water last year. So, there's really nowhere to go from that but up. But the Saints have no reason to lose this game. If we're looking at position by position, the Saints are literally better in every single position except maybe linebacker and D tackle. But, I mean, even then, Roquan Smith for the Bears is injured. He might not play. And he's been an absolute animal. He's been a beast this year. He might not play. That's huge for them. That's absolutely huge. So, I mean, you could even make the argument that the Saints linebackers are better. Now, I don't think they are because, I mean, the Saints linebacking core is DeMario Davis or bust now that Quan Alexander is injured, and he's not going to be back this year. So, I mean, the Saints have no reason to lose this game. The Bears' defense is really good, but I still think when you have Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Marquez Callaway, Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, that O-line, and Sean Payton calling the plays, there's no reason to shit the bed. If we score under 20 points in this game, I think we're going to lose. And I'm not saying it's going to be because our defense blows the game, but if the Saints offense just goes 3-and-out the whole game, you're going to see the defense get tired. And that's going to lead to the Bears scoring points towards the second half of the game. And the Saints, to me, the biggest key to victory for the Saints is to start fast. And I'm talking start the first 3 or the first 4 or 5 possessions need to end in at least 3 scores. Now I'm talking getting off to a 14-0 lead or a 17-3 lead or something like that. Because the thing with this Bears team is that in their little win streak that they had, in their few games before the Packers blew them out, not blew them out, it was a pretty close game, but before they lost the Packers, Mr. Trubisky was not leading them to victories. He just wasn't. He just wasn't losing them the game. They were running the ball and they were playing good defense. That's how they won those games. This Bears team is it's not built to play from behind. So if we can get off to a good lead, I'm talking, like I said, 14-0, 17-3, and then from that point just play good defense and run the ball, run the clock, don't turn the ball over, and we can somehow get 23, 24. I mean, if we start off with 17 points the first half and we only score 7 points the rest of the game, that I think we can pull off and win with that because this, like I said, this Bears team is not meant to play from behind. Just don't let them get too many opportunities. Take advantage of what you got, especially to start the game. And just don't fuck it up, man. I mean, come on. There's no reason. If we lose, I've said this too many times, but you cannot. There's no reason to lose to the Bears. The Bears are they're 8-8. They're 8-8. I mean, there's no reason to lose this game. There's no reason. If the Saints lose this game, this entire team needs to get buried. I mean, I'm going to go ham. And a lot of people may call me a fake fan if we end up losing this game and I start ranting and call all of our players trash and deserve to be trashed. But, I mean, I'm not here to, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. If there is legitimate problems with this team, and there are, I'm just not talking about them today because it's just not what the video is about. But if I do a game recap, right, and we lose the game, I'm going to give shit to the players that deserve to get shit on, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm a realist. I'm not necessarily a pessimist. I don't want to say, I am sometimes. I'm pessimistic when it comes to the games a lot because I just expect to lose. Because at this point with the Saints, I mean, come on. How much hope can you really have in the playoffs after these past years? I don't have any hope. I mean, I'm praying to God that we win and win the Super Bowl because, I mean, this is Brees last year. Everyone knows he's retiring after this year. He's done. He's not coming back after this year. This is his last year. He's done. This could be his last game on Sunday. That's scary to think about, isn't it? This could be his last game. But, yeah, I mean, if we lose this game, or if we don't win the Super Bowl, this entire 2017 team, this draft class, this team, all the players, this era of 2017 to 2020 will be considered a failure. There's no reason we shouldn't have at least one Super Bowl. and I believe that one Super Bowl should have been the 2018 season. That's the 2018 season was special. That should have been the year. Now a lot of things happened. You know, the refs cost us the game, but we also blew the game. We had many chances to win that game. Like I said before, we lost. So this has to be the year. Now it's a little bit tougher because we don't have the first round bye, and that would have been really helpful to get healthy. But the good news is that we're going to have our players back, and home field advantage isn't necessarily like super as important as it was in past years because there's no fans. I mean, there's fans, but in some places like the Saints, we have like 3,000 fans, but that's not gonna make a difference in the game like 75,000 fans would. The only difference would be weather conditions, and that's why the only environment I would be concerned about playing in the playoffs is Lambeau Field because it's freezing there. It's cold. And that would be the only place we would have to travel if we ended up playing them because we're the second seed. The only team higher than us in the playoffs is the Packers. If we had to play Seattle or Tampa or anyone else in the playoffs, it's at home because we're the higher seed. You know, that's in our dome. So, I think that's about all I got to say for this game. The Saints have no reason to lose this game. This should be, if I hadn't witnessed as many playoff chokes as I've seen the last few years, I would say easy win, Saints blowout. But that's the thing, though. The Saints do not do this. When it's the playoffs, the Saints turn to a completely different team, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, and end up shitting the bed somehow, some way. Now, I'm going to this game expecting to choke the game in a heartbreaking way because that's what I've come to expect. It's sad, but it's true. That's just how I feel. Now, I'm hoping to. I said this already. I'm rambling a lot, but this team needs to have the mindset to do it for Drew. Drew Brees' years have been wasted too many times, whether it's been just an insane defense, you know, the defense blowing the games back in like 2010, 2011, you know, back in Drew Brees' prime when we had some of the greatest offenses ever, and we would lose because the defense allows 40 points in the playoffs. That doesn't happen anymore. Our defense has been playing pretty good the last few years in the playoffs. Just the Saints' offense needs to get it together. They need to get it together for the play in the playoffs. That is because they've been playing good the last few weeks, but the playoffs, and you got to prove that you can win playoff games, Sean Payton. I don't want to see no stupid ass calls. I don't want to see no cute plays. I mean, if they're working, then sure, do them. But I don't want to see us I don't want to see us running stupid end around jet sweeps on 3rd and 1 in the critical situation. Like if it's a critical situation, I want to either run up the middle with Kamara in a short yardage situation or pass the ball with your Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't want to see no Taysom Hill stupid. I mean, Taysom Hill's fine, you know. I don't mind it too much as long as you're not literally taking the ball out of Drew Brees' hands in a critical situation. That's how I see the game. I'm not going to predict the game. Actually, I am. I think the Bears are going to win by a score of 56-0, and the Saints run will come to an end. Sorry, you can disagree with me. That's how I see the game going. Thanks for watching. Let me know how I did. This is my first time doing it, so I'm sure it's not great. And like I said, I'm recording this on my phone, so the audio probably wasn't great either, but that's just how it's going to be. I don't care what y'all... I do care what y'all think, but there's nothing I can do about it right now. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully the Saints can win on Sunday so I can make a recap video being happy that the Saints are moving on. But if the Saints lose, then you're going to see possibly a half-hour rant of me burying this team and me being depressed. So, yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.